So I fucking smoked pot, yeah, and like drank, right? And the other day, like a friend of mine was like reprimanding me about drinking and like doing drugs, and they're like the thing about drinking and doing drugs is like once they wear off, you still have the same problems you had before you start doing them, right? Have you ever heard people say that? Like I feel like I've heard that a lot, and like I don't agree, because like I always find when I drink and do drugs, when they wear off, I always find that I have a whole new set of problems. Like I'll be like, man, I'm naked in the zoo, handcuffed to a dead hooker. This is not a problem I had 7 hours ago. How am I gonna get my car out of the ocean? Right? I didn't even have a car last night. Nor did I live near the ocean. My friend was wrong. I have a whole new set of problems than I did. That joke was great, how I just repeated the punchline like 8 times. Differently, sort of. I was talking to his friend of mine the other day. He's like a dickhead, right? And he like called me, and he was like, hey, man, come over to my house this weekend. He's like, I'm having a painting party, right? Do you know what that? Have you ever been invited to a painting party? You know, it's like you go and you like paint the person's fucking house, and like while you're painting, they order like a pizza, and like. You're supposed to be duped into thinking that you're at a fucking party. Not that you're doing chores for these people. This is a great party that I'm at. I might do it when I need shit done around my house. I'm just gonna pretend like it's a party, right? I'll be like, hey, come over tomorrow. I'm having a retile my bathroom party. And and also you're not gonna want to miss my drive me to the airport New Year's bash. It's BYOC, right? I'm gonna order some Chinese food, and you can eat it on the way. It'd be a great party. I was walking by this school the other day, right? Fucking just rocking, right? And that's how I do it. That's how I roll. Fucking walk by these schools, and and I heard these like 2 like 11-year-old kids, they were like in front of the school, and they were like getting into a fight, right? And one of the kids was like giving like a time and place for the fight, right? He was like, me and you were gonna fight 3 o'clock bike racks. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta come back at 3 o'clock. But like that reminded me, like when I was a kid, like I was kind of a pussy, right? Believe it or not. And but like when I got into a fight, like I wouldn't want to like back out of the fight. So like what I would do is like I would just give like a time and place that was like really inconvenient to get to. And there's like no way the other kid would have shown up, and it would look like he was pussing out of the fight, right? Like I'd be like, oh, you want to go? I'd be like, all right, man, me and you, Christmas morning, Mount St. Helens. He'd be like, yeah, I'm going out of town with my family. Like, I'd be like, you hear this pussy? He's not gonna show up to that volcano at 6 a.m. on Jesus' birthday to fight me. Be like, all right, dude, I'll be waiting in a pool of lava. If you're not too much of a pussy, you can swing down from a helicopter. And we can settle you spilling my milkshake. Right? Or I'd be like, you want some? I'd be like, all right, dude, I'm ready. I'd be like, me and you. Vanity Fair's Oscars after party. Be like, that's kind of a tight list. I don't... Be like, you hear this pussy? He's not even gonna get on the list of the most exclusive party in the history of the world. I'd be like, I'll be waiting at Steven Spielberg's table to kick your ass. Right? Yeah. Am I right? Do you guys agree with the joke I just said? Right? There's only like an hour left, so I was talking to this fucking dickhead the other day, right? It's like my best friend, and we were talking about this song he really loved, and he's like, dude, I love that song. That song changed my life. Right? You ever hear when people say that, like when they love a song, that it changed their lives, right? And I was like, really? But you're like a fucking loser. I was like, what was the name of the song? Was it called, like, I'm gonna continue to live in my parents' basement? Like, and that's not true. Like, no one, like, a song never changed anyone's fucking life. Like, I've never been talking to somebody and have been like, yeah, that song changed my life. I used to work in a deli. Now I'm a Navy SEAL. All thanks to Gloria Estefan's Rhythm Is Gonna Get Ya. I feel like the only way a song could change your life is if, like, in the song, they were giving you the results of your AIDS test. Right? Like, be like, hey man, you heard that song, Steve Johnson's HIV positive? Be like, yeah, that song changed my life. My life is totally different ever since they released that. I thought it was a weird way for the doctor to break the news to me. But my doctor is Dr. Dre, so. I knew that going in, that it was gonna be. That's what you get when you go to the hippest doctor in the world. But I really like what the Neptunes did with my AIDS results. Right? Fucking, that's how hip I am. Neptune's references. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. You ever, like, go to a whorehouse by accident, right? I went to a whorehouse recently, right? I didn't know it was a whorehouse. Like, a friend dared me to go in there. Like, we walked by and he was like, I think that's a whorehouse. And I was like, no, it's not. And he was like, go in and I'll give you $10 to find out. I was like, all right, sweet. And I went in, and there was a girl, like, in lingerie standing there, and I was like, what goes on in here? And she was like, well, if you give me $100, then you get to watch me masturbate, right? I was like, wait, let me get this straight. I'm going to give you $100, and you're going to masturbate? I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Then how about after that, I give you another $100, and then I watch you smoke all my weed. I was like, then I could give you, like, another $200, and I can watch you and your friends go on a skiing trip. She was like, are you interested in the show? I was like, no, but I'd like to fill out a job application. I'm available holidays. It's an awesome job, right? Like, master. How do you get caught, like, slacking off at that job? Like, you're, like, fucking... They catch you moving boxes. They're like, what are you doing? Put that down. You're here to fondle your genitals in front of strangers. What are your pants doing on? Break's over. You got time to lean. You got time to masturbate in front of people. Right? I was fucking watching this show on VH1. It was about, like, groupies, right? And they were interviewing these groupies from, like, the 80s. And they're talking about what they would do is they would go to concerts and they would blow, like, the roadie guys, right? And then they would let them backstage so that they could blow the rock star guy. That's the process, apparently. And then they showed some of the roadies, and they were, like, disgusted. They were, like, the most disgusting guys in the world. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I would love to be so famous that chicks would blow other dudes just to get the chance to blow me. Like I can barely get chicks to blow me directly. Like, I couldn't even imagine proposing that to a girl. Like, listen, if you want to blow me, first you're going to have to blow these 6 ugly dudes. She'd be like, yeah, I don't even want to blow you. Like, I was going to do it as a favor because you spend all your money on dinner, but like I'm definitely not blowing these guys. Like, it's like you work in an insurance fucking office. Why would I blow them too? Like, I'd be like, all right, you can just blow me. She'd be like, I'm not blowing anyone. I'm gonna go home. You're the worst date I've ever had. Like, all right. You're like, I'm sorry that didn't work out, guys. Let's try it again next week. Someday we will all get blown because of how awesome I am. So, I have a cell phone, right? And you guys have cell phones? Yeah, right? Yeah. Fucking sweet. I have a cell phone, but like I don't pay it like a lot, right? And have you ever not paid your cell phone? Like they turn that shit off. Like, and have you ever had your cell phone turned off? Like when people call you, there's like a message about it. Like people are like, the message is like, this guy did not pay his cell phone bill. So everyone finds out about it, that you're a fucking loser. Like, so my cell phone got turned off. I kept running into friends of mine. They'd be like, dude, your cell phone got turned off. They're like, what happened? I'm like, what happened? I don't have any money. That's what happened. Like, what other explanation could there be behind that? Like, oh, what happened? Oh, they decided I was too awesome to have a cell phone. Yeah, I was getting laid way too much. It wasn't fair to the rest of the world. So my phone was about to get turned off the other day, so like I like called over the phone to like, you know, pay the bill, and I called this woman answer, and I was like, yeah, I want to pay my cell phone bill. And she was like, okay, what's your social security number for security? And I gave it to her, and then she was like, what's your password for security? And I was like, security, why? I was like, are there people calling up trying to pay my cell phone bill? Like, if that's happening, like, please let them through. Like. And she was like, no, it's so that someone can't call and change your phone plan. I'm like, well, who the fuck is doing that? Like, is that even like a crime? Like, there's some gang hanging out. They're like, all right, we're going to get a revenge on Tom tonight. They'd be like, yeah, this is Tom McCaffrey. I want to switch from anytime minutes to unlimited weekends. All right, we got him. He will never mess with the Crips again. That's what he gets for shooting Crazy Legs in the face. I shot this guy Crazy Legs in the face. It's a long story. Oh man, it's fucking. I used to work at this restaurant in the city, right? And I don't know if you ever worked in a restaurant like in New York City, but like when I worked there, like homeless, insane dudes used to come in all the time, right? And one time, this like insane dude came in and he had totally like wet his pants, right? And he came up to me. He's like, do you guys have a bathroom? And I was like, yeah, but it looks like you need a time machine, because I was like, you're done urinating. I was like, that part's over now. Like. I was like, we have a toilet, but it's not a magic toilet that's gonna like suck the urine out of your pants. Like, I was like, you should be looking for like a laundromat or like a book on how to urinate properly. I totally slammed that homeless dude that had wet his pants. And I really said, go look for a book on how to urinate properly. He was like, oh, thanks for the tip. I'll go check that out. It's like, thank God I ran into the most sarcastic asshole who works in a restaurant. When my life had just bottomed out. At the worst moment of my life. I'm glad he was able to come up with something hilarious. was watching a sus fucking horror movie recently, right? And I'm really a big fan of horror movies, right? Like Halloween, like Friday the 13th and shit. Like, I don't know if you guys know those movies, right? You guys, yeah. And like the thing I love is like in every one of those movies, there's always like a scene where like at the end, like everyone's dead and there's like one girl left alive, but she doesn't know all her friends are fucking dead, and she'll be like looking around the house for her friends, and she'll open like a closet, and like her friend will swing out of it with like an axe in his face. And she'll be like, ah! and then she'll run to the refrigerator and open the door, and there'll be like her friend's head severed, like in the middle of the refrigerator on a plate, like perfectly set up in the refrigerator, like garnish, like right in the middle of the fucking. And she'll be like, oh my god! And then she'll like run and like open a door, and her other friend will be like, nailed to the door with a spear through his face. And I'm like, what serial killer does that? Like, he's in the middle of this like insane killing spree and he stops to set up this like spooky obstacle course. Like, I just wish they would like show him setting it up, because like he'd be like, he's like really excited about it. Like Jason's like hanging the guy in the closet. He's like, oh man, this is gonna be so great. She's gonna open it, this guy's gonna swing out. Then the head on the plate with the garnish. I fucking love Friday the 13th. Why only once every 3 years? That's what Jason would be saying. I was watching Discovery Channel, right? Yeah, and fucking they had this special about like haunted houses, right? And like there's this one house they were talking about that like no one would go into. They were afraid to go in. They were like, there were ghosts in there, right? And everyone's like, they're like, I won't go in there. There's ghosts. I refuse to go in there, right? And I was thinking, like, why is everyone so afraid of ghosts? Like, I've never heard of anyone dying from ghosts, right? Like, no one's ever been like, did you hear that Steve died? What happened? Ghosts. They killed him. I'd be like, really? I didn't even know that was possible. I'd be like, yeah, they ghosted him to death. They said boo until he hung himself. They were really annoying. Like, Lyme disease is more dangerous than ghosts, right? But no one's afraid of fucking Lyme disease. Like, if they made a movie about Lyme disease, no one would be, like, terrified of the movie. Like, no one would be watching and be like, oh my god, they're going in the woods with no shoes on. I can see where this is headed in 6 to 9 months. If they're not extremely careful. Right? I like old movies, right? You guys into old movies? Yeah. I'm talking movies from like the 80s, not like... I was watching that movie, The Karate Kid Part 3. It's about time someone slammed that shit, right? Everyone's been fucking letting that get a free ride for too long. Not anymore, Karate Kid 3. You have met your maker. I love those Karate Kid movies. The thing I love is like in every single movie that the guy, Daniel, like moves somewhere and everyone hates him and like beats the shit out of him. Right? Like in the first one he moves to LA and everyone hates him and they beat the shit out of him, right? And then in the second one he goes to Japan and everyone there hates him and like they beat the shit out of him. And then in the third one he goes back to LA where he's been living for like 10 years and a new group of guys beats the shit out of him. I'm like, this guy can like join the Peace Corps and like on the first day someone would be like, your karate's a joke. I need your title, Daniel. Be like, I thought we were just gonna build huts. Like what? He'd be like, we were, but there's something about you that makes me want to beat the shit out of you in a karate tournament. And then in the third one, he's like 30 years old. Like, you shouldn't still be getting your ass kicked, like going places. Like in the third one, they're like, where you going, Daniel? He's like, I'm going to law school. Like, You guys are still into kicking my ass? It's like, I don't even do karate anymore. It's too hard on my knees. Fucking slam. Dude, next CD, Karate Kid 4 is dead. I'm gonna tear that one a new one. I don't know if that movie has an asshole already, but I'm also a big fan of this 80s movie, Mask. Do you guys remember that movie? Like with like Eric Stoltz and Cher. It's based on like a true story about the guy's face. Who's like his face is disgusting, right? I clearly missed the message of that movie. It's supposed to be about like the triumph of the human spirit. I'm like, remember the guy's face was disgusting. I love that movie though, because like there's scenes where they're trying to show how horrible the guy's life was, and there's parts where like strangers on the street like yell shit at him, like they're angry at him for being deformed. Like there's a part, it's like his first day at school, a kid who doesn't even know him was like, hey, why don't you take that mask off? And I'm like, that happened? Like, who would do that? Like when I see deformed people, like I feel bad for them. Like I don't get angry and like start yelling at them. Like I couldn't imagine if I was going home tonight and I saw a dude with no arms. Like I wouldn't go in his face and be like, hey man, what's your problem? What, you don't have any arms? Dude, that's gross. Just get out of here, man. You're really pissing me off. Being so deformed. Why don't you put some arms on, man? Stop being such a dick. I went out of town recently, right? Yeah, and I got a massage, right? You guys ever get a massage? Like a real massage, not like where they jerk you off. But I signed up for an hour to get a massage, and 45 minutes into it, the woman was like, she's like, okay, that's it, the massage is over, right? And I was like, no, I signed up for an hour. And she's like, no, 45 minutes is an hour in giving massages. And I was like, we already have a system of measuring time in place. Like you can't just make up a new one, like around your job that fucks me over, like. So then she was like, that'll be $200. I handed her $30. I was like, no, that's $200 in my world of paying people for massages. I was like, I know we as a society have agreed on a way to measure money. I just figured I'd make up a new one that makes no sense. I'd be like, I'm sorry, that's my policy. Thanks a lot for that incomplete massage, douchebag. Wait, that's not what happened. What happened was I paid her and then I bitched about it for 3 years. That's what happened. And then I changed the story so that I was awesome. When in fact, I was a fucking loser in the story. You guys know who Matthew Broderick is? I sequenced these jokes so they would go in a perfect order that makes sense. Cucumber penis, Matthew Broderick. I don't know if you noticed, like in the 80s, Matthew Broderick was in like a car accident with Jennifer Grey where they were driving in Ireland on the wrong side of the road and they hit another car and they killed 2 women in the other car, right? You know, so I got my joke book because I was like, these jokes are going to write themselves. And I was thinking, like, that's a really shitty, like, that sucks, right? But, like, that's kind of an awesome story. Like, if I was related to the people that got killed, like, I would be psyched to tell people that story. Because you know everyone would think it's fucking awesome. Like, imagine you're at a party and someone's like, oh, how'd your grandmother die? I'd be like, oh, she was murdered by Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing. Like, what? Ferris Bueller and Baby murdered your grandmother? That's fucking awesome. Be like, yeah, it was great. Here's some pictures of me with them at the funeral. I'd be like, yeah, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go meet Matthew Broderick. We're gonna hang out because he has to, because he murdered my family, so. That'd be awesome, right? You could totally just like fucking guilt Matthew Broderick into hanging out with you at any time. Like, hey Matthew, can you come over? My girlfriend wants to meet you. Oh, you're busy? Oh, that's cool. I'll just call my grandmother. Oh wait, no, you killed her with your car. All right, I'll see you in 10 minutes. Try not to kill any of my relatives on the way over. Fucking stuck, Matthew Broderick. Sorry, Broderick. Broderick Machio. These are all jokes about things from like 1982. I'm about to do some Civil War shit. It's gonna be cool. Like slavery, seriously. We gotta abolish that already. You guys know Ray Liotta, you know that guy, right? Did you know he was like adopted, right? He just found out he was adopted like a year ago. Right? And he went and found his birth parents and like they didn't know that Ray Liotta is their fucking kid. I was like, that's awesome. Like, imagine like you give a baby up for adoption and then fucking 45 years later, Ray Liotta shows up to your fucking house. That'd be sweet, but it would suck if like a lame celebrity showed up. Like, you open your door and you're like, Lou Diamond Phillips? What are you? I'm your dad? Oh, great. Go clean your room. You're grounded for being so shitty. But it would be really awkward if some like hot chick showed up, right? Like years later as like an adult and you didn't know it was your daughter. Like you'd be like Pamela Anderson, all right. Like, you're my daughter. Like, listen, before you come in, I have to take some posters down. And throw away my computer. And shoot myself in the face. Because you being my daughter has ruined my life. So I have like a niece, right, who's like 4, right? Like I take care of her a lot. I don't know. Do any of you have like relatives who are like 4 years old, right? Because like, I don't know if you ever take care of them, but like it sucks because like they don't know anything. Like they don't know shit. Like you have to explain everything in the fucking world to them. Like literally, she'll be like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "That's your fucking arm." Like you don't know what an arm is? Like what is wrong with you? You fucking idiot. Didn't you come with any information? But the other thing that sucks is you have to explain like horrible shit in the world that doesn't even have like a good explanation behind it. Like we were in the video store and she saw the video cover for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that movie, and she was like, "Oh, what's this movie about?" I was like, "Oh, that's about this guy. He like kills people with a chainsaw and then he hangs them on meat hooks." And then he like cuts off all their skin and he wears their skin as like a mask. And then he like eats them. She's like, "Doesn't that hurt the people?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I think it really hurts. Like it's horrible. Like he kills them with a chainsaw. Like it's like the worst way to die in the world. Like when he puts them on the meat hook, they're still alive. Like." And she's like, "Why does he do it then?" I'm like, "I think he like thinks it's funny that it hurts them. Like that's why he's doing it. He thinks it's cool." And she was like, "Am I gonna get killed with a chainsaw?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe." Like, I gotta be honest, like it is a possibility. Like, this does happen. Like, be careful out. Like, watch out for chainsaws. Fucking watching Eat Your Hollywood Story of Pee Wee Herman, right? You know that shit, yeah. And I love how I ask about things that everyone would know, and I ask if you heard. I'm like, "You guys heard of pants? You guys, you know those?" Yeah. I was watching Eat Your Host Story, Pee Wee Herman. They were talking about, remember he got busted masturbating in the porno theater? They were interviewing the cop that like caught him masturbating, and the way he described what Pee Wee Herman was doing when he caught him is he's like, I caught Mr. Herman manipulating his genitalia. And I was like, what? I was like, manipulating his genitalia? Like that doesn't sound like a very accurate description of masturbating to me. Like, because that's like implying that I'm like lying to my genitalia or like tricking it into doing that, which like I've never done. Like I've never been like, hey genitalia, like you want to like watch a movie on the couch or like, you know, take a nap? I'm not gonna try anything. It's totally cool. Right, and then I'll be like, I got you, genitalia. You fell for it. I don't think that's accurate because I usually feel like it's like the other way around, right? Like my genitalia is manipulating me into doing that. Like I'll be in the shower, right? And I'll be like, what genitalia? I'll be like, you want me to wash you? All right, that sounds cool. And then I'll be like, I cannot believe I fell for that. You have manipulated me yet again, genitalia. For the 7th time this morning. All right, thank you very much, everybody. You're the best. Good night. Duel.
Tom McCaffrey, everybody!